Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Eliel in this incarnation. Well, today I am here to talk mainly about certain topic, which is the squares between Jupiter and Saturn. This is a complementary video. I want to tell you another things that I didn't mention before. So that video is in the playlist that I'm going to keep updated, of astrological transits that are still in effect. So, wait a second, I want to check the audio because I had problems before with Mercury retrograde. Let's see. Yeah, it is working. Well, okay, let's go. First, I wanted to remind you that today we had the perfection of two transits that I mentioned in the video of the energies of the week. The first one, it is the conjunction of Mercury retrograde in Virgo with Venus in Virgo. So this is about approaching pendant conversations with other person. Could be linked with correcting, with repairing things that were said, also because that it is the energy of Virgo, getting into an agreement, but also it is about realizing what kind of aspects we need to correct, we need to approach in order to implement the materialization. It is an earth sign of things that we want to create, desires of the soul, the routines, what we have to do in the daily, in order to carry on, that process. Also, today we had the perfection of the sextile between the Sun in Leo and Jupiter in Gemini. This is going to be in effect the whole week. But, I already talked about this. This is expansion through the expression of who we are, of our talents, of our creativity, expansion through new ideas, aligning ourselves with a divine purpose too, because this is Jupiter. But we have to take in account that this sextile, it is given, in first place in a square with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, which is the planet of limits, boundaries, responsibility, maturity, the parameters that we establish as a society, because both planets, Saturn and Jupiter, are social planets. And this is going to be reinforced, by the moment that the square is perfected. I'm going to give you the dates right now. It is going to be reinforced with a Mars in Gemini that is making a conjunction, a union with Jupiter. This is going to be perfected the next week. And a Venus in Virgo that is going to create an opposition with Saturn in Pisces, which is retrograde. So let's see how this will be traduced, or how this can be traduced. We are already feeling this because this square is perfected on August 19th, but we are going to feel it the whole month. And in mathematical degrees, these squares actually are not undone in all the 2024, but we are going to experiment this with, much stronger in August and in December. But we are going to see that these cycles are very, very connected with also 2025. Well, this first square, which is, as I said, on August 19th, is going to be given with Saturn retrograde in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini, which is direct. So we are reevaluating ways of authority, not only the authority that we exercise in our experience, but also the authorities in the systems and the structures that we have built. So pendant experiences that we need to assume the responsibility, things that we were avoiding, for example, decisions that are important right now, it is the moment to approach them. Also the constructions and objectives that we carry on until this point. It is a reevaluation, and certainly because it is a mutable square, we are talking about a movement and we are talking about changes, that is the mutable signs. So in the collective level, we are already seeing this, how, there are these wars, through communication, the language, the social media, could be restriction of the expression because the authority is being ceded to the old systems. Also could be limitations in the communication or the expression because irresponsible ways are being used, and that has consequences, of course. But also this is about people operating in very aggressive ways, because that is Mars in Gemini too. Mars is this planet that opens the way. It is about opening our way with new ideas, through communication, through new connections, but also, this could be about communicating in very aggressive ways, trying to oppose to other people, for example. So it is very important to take in account these things about the cancel. I don't know if this is the word in English. I don't remember the expression, but these accusations that many times are done in social media without enough information. I've been observing through these years how many of them were false, or how, through the years it is discovered how the story was not completely revealed. So it is very important to verify information and not to judge from the superficial, because that is the shadow of Gemini. Someone told me something, and because of that transmission, I made that information a truth. So if I don't have all the information, it's better to wait before deciding. And also, if we are talking about situations that are not aligned with the divine purpose of my soul, with my path, it is better to not give entity, or to not put energy, because that is also the energy of Mars in Gemini and Jupiter, the conjunction, to act and to communicate and to add ideas, but in a way that has a purpose. It is not about transmitting information that is not functional, that is not working in this divine purpose. So other thing that we know, for that we know, that is expressed in the communication media, it is that the information is very, I don't know the word in English right now, but it is mixed with partial truths and lies, because that is how lies are believable. So communication media is not giving certain information. It is many of that. It is I don't know the word. Wait a minute, I'm going to look up for the word. There is Mercury in Virgo today. It is misrepresent, well, could be that word, in many ways. So we have to look up for other fonts to check the information too. This is very important. And in the individual level, Saturn, it is telling us that we need to establish boundaries with the tangible experience. I mean, if a person is not communicating in an assertive way, it is very important to establish boundaries, and boundaries to the entity that we are giving to opinions, external opinions too. But we are going to see with the presence of Venus in Virgo, that we won't be able to avoid the labor of correcting dynamics that are distorted in relationships, and every investment of time, resources, experiences, and situations, people that are not aligned with the highest love, that are not contributing with our path to unity, which is Pisces. Love as a frequency, not as a concept. Let's remember that this thing about unconditional love, it is not allowing the abuse. It is not allowing everything. It is about putting the intention of understanding the function of every experience, even the ones that we are perceiving as negative. But boundaries with Saturn, it is very, very important. So the purpose of these squares between Saturn and Jupiter are to create a solid foundation, a solid expansion, to set the foundation for 2025. These tensions are inviting us to the movement, to adaptability, but also they could represent limitations, obstacles, and frustration. That could be an experience. So we can assume the authority of our own experience, and to reevaluate with Mercury retrograde in this first instance what we need to change. So the second one, which is going to happen on December 24th of this year, it is going to happen with a Saturn that is going to be direct, and with a Jupiter, this is going to be vice versa, with a Jupiter that is retrograde in Gemini. So Saturn there is going to be in a stronger position because it is direct. And we have to add, I'm not going to talk about this transit right now to not, put too much information in this video, but we are going to experiment on Mars that is going to be retrograde in Leo and in opposition with Pluto is an aspect very, very tense and very, very uncomfortable. But I'm going to talk about that later. So we are going to have two tensions very important at this point. But in this one, because Saturn is direct, we're going to see new lessons to, carry on the things that we want to build, our dreams, because that is also Saturn in Pisces, what we are doing to descend them to the reality, what we are doing to descend light to the reality, what we are doing to align with our own function of the soul. And with a Jupiter retrograde, we will need to reevaluate ideas, ways, and connections, and if they really have a purpose in our experience. So I will talk about that later. But the third one, and I'm going to close the video with this one, is going to happen on June 15th of 2025. But this time, this is not going to be a mutable tension because Saturn is going to be direct, Jupiter is going to be direct, but in Aries and in Cancer. So this is given in cardinal signs. These are beginnings with a lot of strength. This requires, will, courage to open the way and to align with what is really nutritious, to give life to, the expansion in here. But as I said in many videos before, 2024, 2025 are very, very important years, especially 2025, because we will have planets that are coming, that come and go from the last degrees and the first degrees of new signs. So we are going to experiment in the collective and in the individual level processes that finally will be more settled in 2026. So, well, I wanted to comment this for you to take this in account. I'm going to leave this video in the playlist. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.